Hey guys, Mr. Brain here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the law of increasing costs, which can also be thought of as a law of diminishing returns. Let's say that he's here, is stuck on a desert island and he's got to collect coconuts in order to live. So here we have a coconut tree, because this is what coconut trees totally look like, and it's going to cost him a certain number of minutes to get each coconut. Okay, so far so good. So when he gets his first coconut, he's probably going to get the lowest one on the tree, the easiest one to reach, and it's only going to take him a minute. So one coconut, 1 minute. Okay, but the second coconut's a little bit higher, so it takes him a little bit longer. The marginal cost is 1.5 minutes, so now the cost is 2.5 for 2 coconuts. And if he wants to get the third coconut's a little higher on the tree. If you can think of, this is the first one, maybe this is the second one, and now the third one is here, and that costs a little bit more. It costs 2 whole minutes, an extra 2 minutes. That's the marginal cost. So 3 coconuts makes 4.5 minutes, and now he's going to go for another one here, and that's going to cost 2.5, so that gets us up to 7 minutes for 4 coconuts. All right, just to make really clear what's happening here, the marginal cost of each coconut, so the first one, compared to getting 0 coconuts, that cost you an extra 1 minute, and then the second one cost you an extra 1.5 minutes, and the third one cost you an extra 2 minutes, and the fourth one cost you an extra 2.5 minutes. The fact that the more coconuts you try to get, the marginal cost of the last coconut goes up, okay, that is the law of increasing costs. Now, if I graphed out the total cost in blue of the coconuts in terms of minutes, so the first one cost 1, the second one cost 2.5, 2 total cost 2.5 total, 3 total coconuts cost 4.5 total, and 4 total coconuts cost 7 total minutes. Notice that it has a slight upward curve. And that's because marginal cost, according to the law of increasing costs, is always increasing. Okay. So the first one cost an extra 1, the second one cost an extra 1.5, the third one cost an additional 2.5, and the fourth one cost an additional 2. And this is a very rough graph, I'm sorry, but this is pretty good. So total cost has a slight upward curve because marginal cost is always going up. For those of you who are going to or have taken calculus, notice that the marginal cost, this thing here, is the first derivative of total cost, this thing here. All right, let's take another example. Let's say that you're going to the store to buy cans of Red Bull. And if you buy, let's see, each can of Red Bull, let's just say, costs $2. So the first can of Red Bull will give you a total cost of $2 and a marginal cost of $2. And the second can will cost you a total of $4, and it'll have a marginal cost of $2. The marginal cost is always going to be $2 because each can costs $2. No matter how many you buy, all your cans are going to cost $2, so that means your total cost for 3, 4, and 5 will be 6, 8, and 10. Now notice here, this does not conform, or seems not to conform, to the law of increasing costs, because the marginal cost remains the same no matter how many you buy. Yes, your total cost goes up, but that's not what the law of increasing costs says. What the law of increasing costs says is that your marginal cost, the more you want, will go up, but we don't see that happening here. Well, what gives? Well, we also have to consider the marginal benefit. The marginal benefit from each can of Red Bull. Well, the first one maybe, and we'll measure marginal benefit in utils, which is a sort of arbitrary measure of happiness, but let's say the first one gives you, and total benefit, let's say the first one gives you a total benefit of 10 utils, and the second one gives you a total benefit of 18 utils. It's pretty good. And the third one gives you a total benefit of 24 utils, and the fourth one gives you a benefit of like 26 utils, and the fifth one, 27 utils. Okay, why did I choose those numbers? Well, because, the first can of Red Bull, maybe that powers you through a study session, whatever, and that's pretty good. And the second one, you can sort of save and drink, when you're going to play video games with your friends or something like that. But the third one, you're getting kind of sick of Red Bull. And the fourth one, you're really sick of Red Bull. And maybe the fifth one sends you to the hospital. So it tastes good, I guess, so it adds a util. But the marginal benefit here, the marginal benefit of the first one is 10. Of the second one is 8, 6, 2, and 1. And again, I'm just doing a subtraction problem, right? 18 minus 10 is an 8 marginal benefit. 24 minus 18 is a 6 marginal benefit. 26 minus 24 is a 2 marginal benefit. And 27 minus 26 is a 1 marginal benefit. Now the other half of this equation comes into play, the law of decreasing or diminishing marginal benefits or returns. So the more cans of Red Bull you buy, the cost stays the same in terms of dollars at least, but your enjoyment of those cans of each extra can, is actually decreasing. Let's think about what this world would look like without the law of it decreasing or diminishing marginal benefits or marginal returns. Well, if it made sense for you to buy the first can of Red Bull and it cost $2, and the marginal benefit was 10, if that made sense, then you're going to do it, right? And if the second one made sense, and again, we're living in a world without diminishing marginal returns, so it's always 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay, so if that first one made sense, that means the second one's going to make sense, because it's the same trade-off. You're trading off $2 for 10 utils, and you find that worthwhile. That means you would find the third one worthwhile, and the fourth one worthwhile, and the fifth one worthwhile, and in fact, you would spend all of your money on Red Bull only. Ridiculous, right? Well, it only sounds ridiculous because we live in a world of diminishing marginal returns. If we didn't, it wouldn't sound ridiculous, it would be common sense. This shows up in a lot of different ways in your everyday life. How long does it take to work out until you can get to 120, being able to bench 120 pounds? Probably not that long. How long does it take to get to 140 pounds? Maybe a little longer. What about 160 pounds? Probably quite a bit longer. Your marginal cost is going to be higher and higher and higher every time. So maybe it took a week to get to this point, but to get from this point to this point, it took maybe, so this is 1 week, maybe to the 140 pounds, it took 2 weeks. And to get from 140 to 160, it took another 3 or 4. Okay, so you can think about this, that's the law of increasing costs. But you could also think of this in terms of benefits. Well, your first week got you an extra 20 pounds. So this is weeks and pounds. After working out for a week, you could bench press 120. But after working out for 2 weeks, you could bench press for 134 pounds. And after 3 weeks, you could bench press 140. And after 4 weeks, you could bench press 145. Notice that the marginal benefit is going down all the time. It doesn't matter here, but 14, 6, 5. Okay, and you guys notice this being true. As you get closer to sort of your ceiling, you start to slow down. You start to be able to benefit less. To close this out, I want to relate this to the production possibilities curve as I talked about it before. So I showed you guys this in the production possibilities curve video. So we have this situation where Cordelia, Willow, Xander, and Angel are all stuck on an island, and they can either collect coconuts or fish. And if we start off by collecting only coconuts, everybody's going to do coconuts. But if we wanted to shift our production a little to fish, well, we're going to have Cordelia do that at first, because her opportunity cost per fish is small, just one coconut, right? So each fish, as we begin shifting our production to fish, each fish costs only one coconut. But if we want more than 4 fish, then we're going to have Willow start to do it. That's our next best alternative, because she gives up only 2 coconuts per fish. So we're going to start going down here. If we want any more than 12 fish, okay, we're going to shift over to having Xander collect fish and forget coconuts, because he has a better trade-off there than Angel does. So he only gives up 2.5 coconuts per fish, so he's going to start collecting fish. And then finally, we'll use Angel. See how this reflects the law of increasing costs. At first, each fish only cost 1 coconut, but then if we wanted more than 4 fish, each fish cost 2 coconuts. And then each fish cost an extra 2.5 coconuts, and then each fish actually cost 5 coconuts.